Yeah, so the first thing I want to ask is, what do you wish you knew when you were starting your Capstone design course?
All right, so I think the thing I wish I knew was that when you start, no one knows anything. Like, you're not supposed to know things. You don't just immediately go in and know the solution to the problem that you're trying to solve. We're all kind of on the same level. We're all learning as we're going, and we're all coming in with like different skill sets, and just it seems very overwhelming at first, but then you realize, you get like organized, and then you realize like this is doable.
You make a design, and then you make a couple designs, you choose one, but the amount of times that you kind of have to go back and modify it is just insane. I think the planning of the project is probably the most important, and just kind of like making Gantt charts or like schedules of when your deliverables are supposed to be submitted.
Something that our professor that we had for it, he really kind of talked about was fail early, because then you can, if you fail early enough, like our capstone is a whole year, and failing early allows you that chance to test things and prototype in multiple stages, so that way you can get that feedback and then work yourself towards a final product.
Thinking back to the shoes that you were in, you know, almost a year ago now, what would you tell a team that's just starting on their project? So they got their team assignment, they have this project title and this description. What do you think you would want them to know right now?
I think if there are no issues unless you're a perfect team, then you're doing something wrong, because their setbacks kind of like make your project better. Because if you just stayed with your initial design, often than not, you're ignoring some of the issues that it may have. So making changes is encouraged to the design, as long as it's all within the boundaries and you're still trying to satisfy all the requirements of your sponsor. So yeah.
I was fortunate enough that I already kind of knew these guys, but I think something that's really important for a team starting out is to get to know your team members, because I would much rather have a very impossible project and a good team like going towards it, than have a team that doesn't really want to work together and an easy project.
Yeah, another idea I wanted to bring is, don't be afraid of failure. Just try something out, dive right in. Everyone doesn't know what they're doing, so just try it out and let's see where it goes, because that's where we learned the most from. Because our team was fortunate enough to have like a prototype from last year to just play around and see what worked, what didn't, and that really helped us jumpstart on our start of the project straight into like fabrication and more testing, rather than doing all the design work and all of that part.
Yeah, you made a point about like different skill sets between team members, and like I think that's one really important part of like getting to know your team, is know what each person is comfortable with and what they consider their strengths and weaknesses. Because within the group that we had some people who wrote a lot of software, and some people who didn't do any of that, and some people who worked in a machine shop, and some people who didn't do any of that. And being able to split up your work so that everyone is in an area where they actually have some like expertise and feels comfortable contributing a significant amount to the team is really important.
What can you think of that you learned in your capstone experience that you have used outside the classroom maybe already, or that you are planning to do in your new jobs?
So in terms of this capstone project, starting it off, it was a lot of just research to start with, a lot of research, a lot of planning, and just getting that background knowledge, because like we've like iterated multiple times, like you start off on a blank slate. And I think I use that during my internship a lot. I'll get assignments and I think like, oh my goodness, like I've never done that before in my life. And you know, first thing I do is Google the basic background knowledge of it, maybe open up a few textbooks that give me like equations I need to use. And so I've been able to utilize the like research process that you need. And I think that's something that you're gonna use in the industry a lot. Like you get just thrown into projects that you have no experience in or no knowledge about, and you just start doing that project planning and that background research first.
Communication with other people who are working on the project, especially like the amount of emails that get sent back and forth when you're looking for parts, when you're talking to your supervisors. You have to keep pretty much contacting people until you find the person who can help you.
Yeah, that's excellent. Those are definitely some skills that are going to keep coming up over and over for you all. What from your capstone project are you most proud of right now that you're done with it?
That it works.
Yeah.
No, because it was we were working with in mind like precision optical equipment, which like is very finicky, and we had to custom print these mirror mounts with really high precision adjustment. And so you have these 3 lasers coming up parallel to one another through this like weird gap-shaped plastic and bouncing off a 90-degree angle to come out in the same spaced, and then doing it again to get them go back vertically on the other side, and just seeing all of that actually come together and, you know, function. It was really cool.
I think for our team, I think the thing that I am most proud of is our device that we've designed is a safety device. So while it's not ready for production, it has the potential, because we're also doing a kind of a personal project with it as we're moving along, it has the potential to actually save someone's life or save them from physical harm. Because it's for construction and logging workers, and there's a high fatality rate in that industry. So yeah, like I said, I'm really proud of the fact that if we continue this and get it production ready, that we could actually save someone's life.
And so another thing that I'm curious to hear about is what happened during your Capstone project or your experience working on this that you least expected?
Obviously supply chain issues. So obviously pandemic, and a few of our supplies came out of Eastern Europe as well. So we had a lot of issues just getting all the supplies we needed. So we had to adapt to developing our project.
Thinking about, you know, future students in capstone design, what other kind of advice do you have for them? What do you want them to hear from you in your experienced position?
I'd also say that there's nothing wrong with being ahead of schedule. So you start the semester and you're like, I have this whole semester to do this work, and it doesn't seem like I'm going to need the whole semester, so we can kind of, you know, relax. But honestly, it's way better to just go ahead and start like breaking down work, planning stuff very effectively and explicitly. And then when you get to the end of the semester, when stuff is starting to come due and you have things coming due in 4 other classes, you're not trying to do a ton of senior design work that you should have done already.
Yeah, I would also say the same, like seek out, go talk to people. You'll definitely have a lot of good resources around campus. And also say, try to stay involved in the project, because you only get to work on a senior design project once, and when you look back at things, work on something that'll make you like smile or, you know, just be happy in the future.
Sort of similar to like maintaining your own involvement in the project. It's important to, like, for the sake, like, everyone is only responsible for their own actions, but for the sake of the group, you know, if you see that a team member is losing involvement or not doing as much as they could, to try to like bring them back in and try to offer them more involvement.